Hi guys, so my name is Victor Modo and this is with Victor Modo on YouTube, and I also be posting this on Tribal Football, so please try to follow that channel. That's the channel that we are trying to grow for Nigerian football. Let's talk about the game, Nigeria versus Tunisia now. It's a game that has happened fairly regularly. There was 2019 when we won for bronze, 2022 when the soccer punched us 1-0. It will be red card, Maduka famous performance for to advance around to the quarterfinals, while we went home. And once again, this is a feature that CAF loves very much, and everybody is correct to be bothered. You guys are correct to be bothered, and this and that and that and that. But I'm just here to say I don't see why we are bothered whatsoever. Let me explain. The way the Super Eagles were set up against Tanzania, to me, is how we should play the game against Tunisia. One of the biggest cardinal sins that coaches commit at times is they do this thing where they have to drop a part of their identity and gameplay that flows perfectly to accommodate for the supposed brilliance of the opposition, right? If you play against a North African side, you know for a fact that they are going to win the midfield battle. Yes, they are going to have more press-resistant midfielders. Yes, but one thing is sure. The only time with which we really suffer from being played out totally in terms of defense, in terms of midfield, is when the defenders of the opponent can easily join the attacking and midfield sequences. Let me try to explain that as easily as I can. As we're about to play Tunisia, the Tunisia game, no matter how good their midfielders are, their attack are, right, we will hardly be outplayed, or their defenders will not be able to join the midfield and create passing options if they are busy defending against Osimhen, Akko, Lookman, and Chukwueze. However, in the game Nigeria versus Gabon, we played this exact formation that we played yesterday. In the game against Tanzania, and then we changed the formation again for DR Congo because of their supposed superior midfield ability. Now, if we do the same thing again for Tunisia, we are going to suffer in that game and might lose the game. Let me explain. If they are 5 and 6 and they are number 4 are bothered marking Osimhen and Akko, and then the number 4 is still bothered marking Lookman along with the right back, bothered marking Chukwueze along with the left back, instantly it leaves their midfielders to actually fend for themselves, and it becomes a midfield to midfield battle. Yes, but if we remove Akko, which I think is what the coach is going to do, and try to put in an extra midfielder in Frank Onyeka or somebody else, what that does is it frees up one extra person, either DM or one of their 5 and 6, to join midfield, and then that midfield superiority, the midfield press resistant battle that we are trying to avoid happening to us will happen over and over again. Now, let me throw this back to AFCON 2022. Osne Guavon, our coach at the time, I personally do not believe this instruction was given to Zaidu Sanusi and Olaino, but something happened over and over again. Every time Zaidu collects the ball, he gives the ball to Moses Simon on the halfway line and he stops. Question for the fans: who is the fastest Super Eagles player in the team? Try me. Who is the fastest player in the Super Eagles? Try me. Who do you think it is? Good. The fastest player to me is Zaidu Sanusi. Right, but in that 2022 game, he gives the ball to Moses and he stops on the halfway line. And then Tunisia could tag team Moses, so they had 2 players on Moses, and then they had an extra defensive midfielder coming to join. So Moses will receive the ball halfway line, turn into 3 people, and try to make magic happen. Same thing happened with Samuel Chukwueze. Olaino will drop the ball for him on the halfway line and will not create an overlapping run that takes away one of the defenders and makes it easier to dribble. So if in this game we are going to play, 2 people will be very, very important, because for a fact they are going to tag team Lookman, and they are going to tag team. They're also going to tag team Samuel Chukwueze out wide, right? Having Osimhen and Akko on the pitch reduces their ability to tag team the wingers. Whether I like it or not, we are still a wing-dependent team, right? It reduces their ability to tag team and double mark our wingers. Also, having Zaidu Sanusi and Osai Samuel actually drop the ball for the wingers and create the overlapping runs, ensure one extra defender goes away from Chukwueze or goes away from Moses or Lookman, which makes it easier for them to beat their man and put in the killer crosses, killer passes that we need. A lot of tomorrow's game is going to boil down to a little details. But like I said, there's this thing with a lot of coaches. Coaches at times overthink, try to over-impress and overcompensate for the supposed strengths of the opponent. Now, having a midfield of Iwobi and Ndidi alone is not something that you'd want to play against a supposed superior midfield side in terms of how they get to control the ball, but it's our best bet. Ndidi with instructions to sit and protect that back line, break up play, recycle possession towards and give it towards Iwobi and the wide men should be sufficient for us, right? Because if we start Akko and Osimhen, I don't expect their defenders will be on holiday to be an extra midfielder in DM and allow their DM to advance and come into central midfield and win the midfield battle. Now, it's a lot of back and forth. First of all, let me just add this, that I am not a coach, right? Everything I'm talking about is just things that I'm watching, give or take, and things I think has happened over time from football. But if I had my way and I was going to call the shots for Nigeria versus Tunisia, I'll start the exact same formation. I won't change anything. The same formation that started, I'll start the exact same thing, right? Because aside the fact that we won only 2-1 on a different scoring day, Akko could have had 2 goals. Osimhen could have had a hat-trick, right? Lookman could have had goals of his own. Chukwueze had 2 instances where he dribbled everybody and played shot. One of them struck the bar, right? So totally we could have won Tanzania 5-6 goals, right? So personally, I will not change what is working, right? I'm not going to dampen our attacking threat to accommodate for the midfield or supposed midfield prowess of Tunisia. Rather, I'll ensure that their defenders are too busy marking my front options to join the midfield, right? And I'll give strict instructions to Ndidi that as much as, in the game against Tanzania, Ndidi was the only screen for the back line, but he transcended those instructions. He played DM, he played central midfield. Several locations, he was the one that retrieved the ball back forwards on the edge of the opponent's box. He basically ran, if you check on the heat map for that game, if he did everywhere, you understand? But with the instruction to sit more and provide cover, right, it's very, very possible that if we maintain our formation, we are going to flog, say it again, we're going to flog Tunisia to pieces. Those chances we had in the first game, they will still come. Right, Akko, Adams, Osimhen, they will get their chances. Chukwueze will still dribble everybody's father and mother as far as the wing backs actually overlap, right? As far as they don't allow them to be tag teamed on, right? Lookman will always be Lookman, right? We just need Zaidu to complete. When he drops the pass, he needs to advance. He takes one defender away, he makes it easier. Same with Bright Osai Samuel. Now, I know I have said, but this is what I think, guys. Let me hear from you. What do you think? How best do you think Nigeria should approach the game against Tunisia? Let's hear from you guys.